All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time. Time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages.
Didn't have sets like that in my day. Hello, my name is William Shakespeare. Yes, I have returned in the dark, backward and abysm of time. And it is nice to see you all again. Above all, to be seen. Did you miss me? The old bard, honey-tongued Shakespeare? Creator of masterpieces not for an age, but for all time. And what, you may ask, have I seen since I died? Good question, that. Have I been doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burned and purged away? Well, I'm not telling you where I have been. I have been dead only these 400 years. I am but a spring corpse. And we dead have our responsibilities. Oh, here's Portia, one of my creations.
According to Article 36, subsection 53 of Ghost Decorum for Beginners, freely available in the Stationer's Register, banging on wardrobes in the middle of the night and groaning in graveyards is regarded as broadly acceptable and within the relevant statutes and most biting laws, but telling the living here what happens there is most definitely not allowed. An offence punishable with death, as it were.
Yes, must play by the rules. So why am I here, you ask? Well, I do have a lot of eternity on my hands these days. It gives me the opportunity to entertain you sub-lunar creatures by taking you through my life. A tour of my rough magic.
At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school.
Let's talk about me. I was born in Stratford-on-Avon in 1564, one of 8 children. My father, John, was a successful glover and alderman. My mother, Mary Arden, was a daughter of the gentry and an ancestor of a particular brand of perfume. Or at least so I'm told by those who still have noses. My dear father and mother, fine, loving parents. I can sincerely say that I would not be dead today if it were not for them. But now that I have been extinct for 4 centuries, yes, I have watched the 400-year celebrations, I see that you fools believe that I did not write the plays, that I am not I. Zoons! I already died once. Is it really necessary for you to keep killing me over and over like this?
Look, it is obvious to me, a serious biographer with biographical pretensions, and sundry matters accumulated and organised alphabetically, that the real writer was Francis Bacon, a contemporary essayist in fact and in person, not to mention deliberate intent. Intent, I say. I have it here somewhere, under I. No, not I, it's F. F for effort. Francis Bacon did in truth pen the works of William Shakespeare. And the proof, that's P for proof, F for effort, the evidence, I believe, is beyond doubt. For instance, in particular and most notably, Shakespeare wrote, I set the world on wheels. And Francis Bacon wrote, the world runs on wheels. Could it not be clearer? World, wheels. It is the same person, I tell you, the one and the same. And it does not end there either, dear viewer. Now, we have this from Shakespeare. Oh, that right should o'ercome might. Well, of sufferance comes ease. Then, most eerily, this from Bacon. Might overcomes right. Of sufferance cometh ease. Well, talk about P for proof. You may as well have the words, signed by Francis Bacon, written at the bottom of the page in red ink, with a copy of Bacon's birth certificate and a selfie.
Oh, what fools these biographers be, William.
Yes, Puck. Learned enough to make of themselves a giant ass.
They even make you a stranger unto yourself. Have you seen this?
William Shakespeare was, in my opinion, Christopher Marlowe. Contemporaneous playwright, no doubt about it. But Christopher Marlowe did not die. Well, obviously he died eventually, but not as was later claimed in a knife fight on May 13, 1593. That was a fake. He pretended to die so that he could become William Shakespeare. And the proof is so obvious. It's as plain as the nose on your face. I mean, look, 13 days after the so-called fatal knife fight, our Shakespeare imposter registered his poem Venus and Adonis with the Stationer's Register. 13 days. Not 12, not 14, 13. I mean, what could be more significant than that? And 13 is exactly half of 26. So you know what an important number that is for sure. So as far as I'm concerned, it was Marlowe. Marlowe. I have no doubt in my mind.
There is nothing in your mind. Enough. Exit. Get a life. At least you lot have one, for now. And time, you have time. Do you think, really, that someone else could have tossed off 42 plays, 154 sonnets, and the odd narrative poem in their spare time? Look, I was a jobber, a busy working man. Never more than £10 per play, plus fees and charges for bold deaths in the name of honour, prophecies, great loves, sacrifices that we remembered from this day to the end of the world. Study me if you will, but I was never for the museum or the academy. But the university witless live on, I see. Plodders all.
Hello. We are now going to consider the following phrase in Mr. William Shakespeare. It was a lover und his lass, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no. Now, what are we to make of this? I believe, after intensive research late at night, in 2 different continents, and in 5 various languages, that it is a subtle reference to the Greek gods. Hera, hey, as in hey nonny no, and also the Greek god Hypnos, as in ho. Yeah, and these gods were, of course, very much admired by the Illuminati, of which Shakespeare was undoubtedly a member. Yeah, and we can see by the deliberate concealment of any evidence whatsoever just how secretive the Illuminati were. And this again proves they definitely existed beyond any shadow of a doubt. Or was that ho as in hero, and hey as in hypnos. Maybe I have things front to back, back to front, upside down. In any event, of course, and nonni, of course, comes from the Italian nonna, and this means grandmother, and also the Celtic nonni, meaning left foot. This proves that Shakespeare was secretly plotting left-wing insurgencies with his grandparents. And this is not all we know. Chesterton, the Englishman, first alerted us that it might also be a subtle reference to the famous English proverb, with a hay and a hoe. Shakespeare was making an impassioned protest against the dismantling of the common agricultural lands, and that he believed that hoes should be distributed widely to the common people at all times. In fact, it is very clear that Shakespeare was in tune with the universal world mind, and that being a German concept, this proves that therefore he only pretended to be English, because that was where he was born and lived. Shakespeare was indeed German.
They could never cope with the fact that I, the world's greatest dramatist, was only a grammar school educated middle-class lad from Stratford. Well, 400 years later, here's the scorecard.
Stratford 1, Cambridge 0, Oxford 0, the Sorbonne -200.
Yes, the French academics. Some are born foolish, some achieve foolishness, and some...
Safe space, please. More? William Shakespeare, Dead white male. Very politically incorrect, as we might say. Now, as I explained in my doctoral dissertation, towards a reading of the signifier and the sign in Shakespeare's significances and signatures, with particular respect to differences and diminutions in a post-semanticist text opaque to non-materialist paradigms within a Marxist hermeneutic spiral of thesis, antithesis, wing flapping, consider pourquoi this excerpt from Hamlet. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard. Sport and petards are fundamentally patriarchal, as Monsieur Jean-Paul Sartre tells us, and so is everything else, he later added. We are again reminded that this is a misopoetical paradox within a dialectic of sublimination, within a post-semanticist text opaque to non-materialist paradigms. We thus conclude, the author is dead. All meaning is therefore possible. Except, of course, for what I write. I, the author, am wonderfully alive, and the observer is, in fact, being observed. Observing, observed. Gosh, I'm pretty, aren't I? Especially on television. Beautiful.
The author is dead. Well, I suppose I am. But I lived and posed the greatest question of all, the very heart of the mystery.
The undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveller returns.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
To die, to sleep,
to be or not to be.
That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
To be or not to be?
That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them? To die, to sleep, no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to, 'tis a consummation devoutly to be wished.
To die, to sleep, perchance to dream? Aye, there's the rap. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled of this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes? When he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grant and sweat on their weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the wheel, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of.
Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia. Nymph, in thy horizons be all my sins remembered.
Back to me. We Elizabethan boys were first sent to Pretty School, a bit of a misnomer in my case, where we were taught lessons in behaviour, such as respecting your father and mother, saying your prayers, eating small morsels, and not assassinating the reigning monarch. Then I went to King Edward IV Grammar School, where I learned lots of Latin, a little more Latin, and then a touch of Latin. Plus, if there were any time left, they would give us a good caning while reciting Latin. Ovid, Plutarch, Seneca, more Ovid. Oh, they were fires for my imaginary forms, a frenzy for my poet's eye.
Then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad, made to his mistresses eyebrow, eyebrow, eyebrow.
By the age of 18, I was married to my lovely wife, Anne Hathaway. Some cruel souls have suggested that my marriage was in haste, and true it is that Anne was 3 months pregnant with Suzanne and 8 long years my senior, 26 years of age. In my day, that was over the hill and well down the other side. We didn't have a moment to lose, but a hasty marriage seldom proveth well. Yet still may it be a grand and solemn occasion. Either becomes the other's mine. And yes, it is true that the clerk wrote Shakespeare on the marriage bond. But there was no penalty. It was important to advertise, even in our time. After our marriage, Anne left her home, and we settled down to rural wedded bliss. Minus the bliss. Think you there was or might be such a wife as this I dreamt of? Even yet, I am not sure. There was always the important matter of conquering time by having children. Nothing 'gainst time's scythe can make defence save breed. I don't think dear Anne ever listened. But we had 2 more children, twins, Judith and Hamnet. Hamnet, not Hamlet. Oh, love. My favourite fond sweethearts were Romeo and Juliet, softly embracing at the cusp of the morn. A prince and princess of moments, their fate cut out in the stars.
But soft.
What light 3 yonder window breaks? 'Tis the east and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already pale and sick with grief that thou, her maid, art more fair, thou, her maid, art more. What light 3 yonder window breaks? 'Tis the east and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already pale and sick with grief that thou, her maid, art more fair, thou, her maid, art more fair than she.
But soft.
Could I have made it work with Anne? In truth, what happened was my fault. There were too many worlds inside my head for little Stratford to be my only world.
Feet on a damask cheek, she binding thought and with a green and yellow melancholy. She sat like patient song on a monument, smiling at grief.
If music be the food of love, play on.
Play on, indeed. That is what I did. London in the 1580s, the crossroads of the world. Wealth flowed in from Europe and from the New World. Frankie Drake circumnavigated the globe in the Golden Hind. Frankie Bacon was full of his utopias and Atlantises. Good Queen Bess and her lovelorn puppy, Lord Dudley. Wal Raleigh and his history of the world. Cecil and Walshingham spying, and then spying some more. Any number of ladies in waiting available for after-hours seduction. And there were the theatres. My world, my stage, my globe. I joined the Lord Chamberlain's men and stayed for life with my band of brothers. Dickie Burbage, Henry Condell, Johnny Hemmings, and of course that great clown, Will Kemp.
Well, spit in my eye and call me a horse. We actors were never respectable, William. Caterpillars of the Commonwealth. That is what the Puritan fathers called us. But we were as virtuously given as gentlemen need to be.
Yes, Falstaff, we were celebrities, the immortals of our day. Had there been paparazzi, we would have been photographed in any number of compromising situations, consorting with the ladies of the night, having drunken conversations with rodents. No, I'm not talking about the Spaniards. We had no television or Twitter, but we did have the pamphlets.
Burbage has love child with donkey. Rumour.
Milo set to divorce 14th mistress. Drawings.
Actor loses £10 playing Hamlet. Read recipe.
Romeo spotted dating Sir Walter Raleigh. Juliet furious.
Then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pod, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking a bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth.
My canvas, my paints, my brushes, all were the history of England. Not just the brief chronicles of the time, they were for all time. Tell them, Falstaff.
When Mr. Shakespeare trod the boards, he wrote for commoner, groundling, and aristocrat alike. 1 penny, and his world was freely available for all. 'Tis no sin for a man to labour in his vocation.
No sin indeed. And what was the moral of these, my stories? I will leave that to you to work out. If so many of you, labouring hard to find Shakespeare, succeed only in finding yourselves, why should I interfere with such fine sport? But I will say this to you of the 21st century. In our times, war was for the battlefield. But in the centuries you call your own, murder most foul of civilians has been turned into a theatre of industrial efficiency. The howls of the innocents fall silent, but their slaughters will not be cleansed. True, we Elizabethans had our superstitions and our cruelties, but at least we looked towards heaven, saw beauty. And you? What horrors have you devised? And then you watch them all on a television screen. You even have a thing called remote control. Oh, how suitable. You murder by remote. One step removed. Never quite real. Never quite held to account.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand?
I begin to be aweary of the sun, and wish the state of the world were now undone. Ring the alarum bell! Blow wind! Come rack! At least we'll die with harness on our back!
Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow creeps in the heady pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out our brief candle.
Does honour live on? I have seen no memorials up here, no glorious tales of war, no statues to fallen heroes. We the dead simply fall away from that improbable little orb, the earth. It is the facts that die, swallowed up by the great Leviathan story. And were my characters true? Mr. Hazlitt, the critic, opined that when I was alive I was like any other man, yet like all men. Or to put it another way, nothing in myself, yet all my characters withal. It is so. For a time I became every man, between the years 1564 and 1616. And I remain every man, even though I am no man at all. My men and women live throughout the world, though they never existed. Yet still you insist on killing me.
The complete works of William Shakespeare were actually, indeed and in truth, written by none other than Edward de Vere, the 17th Earl of Oxford. A lot of people think that we scholars are nothing but a bunch of self-obsessed, boring pedants with obnoxious personal habits and bad taste in neckties, but that's totally false. Some of us don't even wear ties. Now, de Vere was widely acknowledged as a literary genius and sometime lover of Queen Elizabeth I. They had a son together, Henry, who was the 3rd Earl of Southampton. But then de Vere discovered that he was actually the son of the Queen by an earlier lover, which meant that he was the father of his own half-brother, and the Queen's son was her grandson. So sex education classes were completely off the table. Quite disturbing, but then also rather innovative. You just can't keep these aristocrats down, can you? Anyway, de Vere, in order to keep his mind off such saucy matters, knocked off a few literary masterpieces, such as the complete works of William Shakespeare. The Queen, however, was not amused, and fearing for his life, he gave the entire lot to that impostor Shakespeare, who said, "Oh, I really look forward to reading what I wrote, except I can't, because I'm a lower-class illiterate. What drags his knuckles along the ground?" Yes.
And then the justice in fair round belly with good modern instances, and so he plays his part.
Yes, I was quite the business person, and true, I rarely got paid very much for a play, but courtesy of cunning investment in our theatre syndicates, I was good enough to buy my way into the position of gentleman, with a coat of arms. Not bad for a mere theatrical. Should I share my business secrets? Why not? Let's put it into what you call business language.
Mr. Shakespeare's entrepreneurial philosophy was actioned in respect of a focus on the core value proposition, taking into account the full competency set, strategized into the actualization of competitive differentiation across the synergistic portfolio of customer expectations going forward in a proactive sense over time, with an eye to the relevant rate of return benchmarks realized within the appropriate investment timeframes, having taken into account the full risk spectrum and spectrums or spectra of risk. Risk of spectra or spectrum risk, full the account into taken, having frames time investment appropriate, the within realized benchmarks return of rate relevant, the to eye and with time over sense proactive, in forward-going expectations, customer of portfolio, synergistic, the across differentiation, competitive of actualization, the into strategized set competency, full the account into taking proposition value core, the focus of respect in actioned was philosophy entrepreneurial Shakespeare's Mr.
Oh dear, what is the matter with your words? No matter at all, I fear. I had a working vocabulary of 54,000 words. You're lucky if you get up to 3,000, despite having so much more to choose from. Now, when I had you starveling, you eel-skin, you bat's tongue, you bull's pizzle, you stockfish, you tailor's yard, you sheath, you bow-case, you vile standing tuck. Ha ha ha, that's what I had. And what did you have?
You're a bastard. You talk nothing but shit. I had you up to here. Give me a load of butters and
When I had you heedless joltheads, unmannered slaves, poisonous hunchback, toad droning, rat-fouling, flapdragon, and gleeking shard-born canker-blossom, you have...
You're a real loser. Like you're just full of it and all that, and you bang on, and you're just so freaking random and like, freak. Really freak.
If it be a good deed to say well, then vice is indeed ascendant. Of course my words bewitched all, but our popularity was never assured. We had furious competition.
Darling, would you like to see the bear baiting tonight, or would you rather see Hamlet by William Shakespeare?
What's the difference, dear?
Well, bear baiting involves the placing of a bear in an arena, or a bear garden, which is a high fenced area or a pit with a post in the middle, and the bear is chained by the ankle or the neck to the post, and large dogs are set on it.
Oh, well, that sounds exciting, dear. What's an Hamlet?
Well, your Hamlet is the story of the Prince of Denmark, which is an investigation into the deep paradoxes and contradictions of revenge within a moral universe, and extends to a meditation on the nature of being and non-being within an eschatological framework.
What?
Well, there's this Scandinavian prince geezer whose uncle kills his father, and he's really cheesed off about it, don't know what to do. Tells his mother to lift her game, kills his girlfriend's father, then jumps into a grave to have a chat with a skull, and ends up being killed along with just about everybody else in a big sword fight at the end.
Oh, no chariot chase? Oh, that's a tad boring, dear.
So it's the bear baiting then, is it?
Yes, I do believe it is the bear baiting.
Of course, they do sometimes released the bears to chase other animals and people.
Really? Well, in that case, Hamlet sounding awfully appealing, dearest.
One might almost say irresistible. And not to mention a timeless literary classic destined to shape human culture for centuries to come.
Oh, sounds lovely, dearest. And cheap too.
Inexpensive, dearest. Inexpensive.
The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful hose well saved a world too wide for his shrunk shank and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble pipes and whistles in his sound.
I did age disgracefully. You have no doubt heard the salacious rumour that I had an amorous dalliance with a dark lady. It's true. I was drawn to her against my will, like a troth to the flame. Who was the dark lady? No telling, I'm afraid. Oh, to be that something else once more, feel the flame of death-divining love. I did believe in her, though I knew she lied. We would lie in tavern beds, lie in dressing rooms, lie beneath stages, lie in alleyways, lie wherever we could, really. Once a Shakespeare, always a Shakespeare. There was a price, though, for a happily married man in exile.
The expense of spirit and a waste of shame is lust and action. And till action, lust is perjured, murderous, bloody, full of blame. Savage, extreme, rude, cruel, not to trust. Enjoyed no sooner but despised straight, past reason hunted, and no sooner had, past reason hated, as a swallowed bait on purpose laid to make the taker mad, mad in pursuit and in possession so. Had, having, and in quest to have extreme, a bliss in proof, and proved a very woe. Before a joy proposed, behind a dream.
Last scene of all that ends this strange eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sun's teeth, sun's eyes,
The times darkened at the fading of Elizabeth's sun. The little world of England became a pit of iniquity, all snottery and slime. I was still a master, but hastening to the end of my days, fading and tottering. To be old is no sin, but 'tis no achievement either. All that is required is to hang around long enough, and old you shall become. Polonius.
We cannot think upon the wrinkling of the skin, the eyes of thick amber and plum tree gum, the yellow cheek, the white beard, the decreasing leg and the increasing belly.
Age is unnecessary, Polonius. When we become time's doting chronicles, we cannot help but chronicle our own decline. Yet now I am at an age for the ages, over 400 years and long since eaten by worms. Perhaps then I am in a position to proffer some ghostly advice to you of the living. Here it is. Can you hear it? Listen. Listen. Can you hear it? No? Then listen again. Breath. And with breath is wonder, something holding dominion over nothing, at least for a time. No Rembrandt painting ever exhaled, no Michelangelo statue ever had blood coursing through its veins. None of my characters ever thought for themselves, had bad days, or took a sickie. Larger than life, yes, but not ever life. All the palaces, temples, symphonies, poems, cathedrals are but reflections. Breath is the heart of mystery, the palimpsest over the void.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer. A sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs ring his knell. Hark now, I hear thee ding dong dell, ding dong dell.
Of course my breath eventually ended. We must all come to dust. I was mourned. My daughters, Susanna and Judith, were married off eventually, although there was trouble with that vile adulterer Thomas Quiney. And I was not there to see matters right. I had taken leave from my family and my life. Ah, grief. Nature's shrug. But that is not where my story ends, dear audience. I may have died, but I also have lived on, as no other writer has ever lived on. Tell them, Prospero.
Our plays bestride the world like a colossus, William. 400 years of theatre. And what actors!
Rich Burbage, Edmund Kean, Sarah Bernhardt, Larry Olivier, Glenda Jackson, and, of course, Mr. Orson Welles.
Oh!
shoot a horse, a dog, a rat had life, and thou no breath at all. Thou come no more.
That guy, your tongue.
Thou come no more.
Die.
Thou come no more.
I'll use them so that
Thou come no more.
Crap.
Never. Never.
Time to go. But for now, this Prince of Moments, can you hear it? Take a deep breath. Quieten your souls. Suit the action to the word to the action. Now, breathe deeply.
Our revels now are ended, and these are actors as I foretold. You were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air, and like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, ye all which it inherit, shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial pageant.
Our revels now are ended, and these are actors as I foretold. You are all spirits and are melted into air.
Our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air, and, like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve and, like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep.
At his heels, a stone.
There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you love, remember. And there is pansies, that's for thoughts. There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you, and here's some for me. You may call it herb of grace on Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end.
By Jis and by St. Charity, alack and fie for shame. Young men will do it if they come to it. By cock, they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. So would I have done by yonder sun, and thou hadst not come to my bed. He is dead and gone, 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 lady. He is dead and gone, gone, gone. At his head, a grass green turf. At his heels, a stone. Dead and gone, 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 lady. He is dead.
Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night.